It is just after 4 a.m. and I am wide awake and ready to go, super pumped. Today is going to be the first hunt of the year for hard antlered mature bucks. It is the 28th of February today and I'm heading back to my camping spot. I'm only going over for the day, I don't have a lot of time. It's still super dry in the bush and there is very little wind forecast for today, so I'm going back to the spot where I filmed the velvet buck. There is a touch of rain forecast, but nothing too serious, otherwise I'd be on the ground missioning around. I have been desperately wanting a westerly wind to get back to those two awesome spots that I set up, but we've had nothing but easterlies and nor'easterlies for like 2 weeks now. All I really want to do is get to those two spots and check those trail cameras. So yeah, get organised, get over there, get up in a tree and see what happens. Me. Nato royally screwed that one up. I'm shaking like you wouldn't believe. I can hardly talk. A pig just came waltzing up the hill. I just can't get over how quiet animals are in the bush. There is no noise today, nothing. It's deathly quiet. Had very, very little rain. And the next thing you know, there's a pig right there. It couldn't have gone any more perfectly. He came up the hill onto the trail that goes right underneath my tree. I was able to turn my second phone on, swivel that around. He walks down the trail like literally a meter under my tree. I was filming him with the camera on my bow, just there. And he walks down the trail, but then he cut to the left and he doesn't have to go far that way before I didn't have a shot, so I made a noise to stop him, which I think I've just got to stop doing that, and if I don't get a shot, I don't get a shot, because the amount of times that I've tried to stop animals and they've just bolted, as that pig did. This close to getting a real good pig out of my tree saddle. It's pretty epic. It's 9 o'clock, maybe a huge buck's gonna walk past at 11 o'clock, and if I'd shot that pig, then I would be on my way home with a bag full of pork instead of here, ready to shoot the buck, so fingers crossed for a buck, eh? That's it, I'm gonna call it a day. The first day in 2021 hunting hard antler fallow bucks will be remembered as another day of I should have got a pig. I have just finished packing for another epic saddle hunt tomorrow. I'm getting up stupid early and I'm going back over to my camping spot just for the day. Going to head out the back onto the public land and I'm going to what I call the meat spot. Now, the meat spot I need a westerly wind for, and I haven't had a westerly wind ever since I set that spot up like 3 weeks ago. Well, I haven't had a westerly wind on the days that I could hunt it at least. But tomorrow I got a westerly, so I'm headed back in there. Tomorrow being the 5th of March, and it's really got to start heating up soon. The bucks are going to start getting more active. They're going to start duking it out. They're going to be moving in daylight. And I'm hoping that one's going to make a mistake and walk right past me. The last time I was at the meat spot, I left the trail camera up in the tree like 3 meters off the ground, pointing right down at the spot where I reckon I've got the best shot. This spot I didn't really pick to be a spot that I'd hunt big bucks at, but the beauty with that trail camera is I can get in that tree, check all that trail camera footage, and if there is big bucks walking past my tree with any sort of regularity, then I'm not going to shoot anything other than a big buck. But if I check that trail camera and there's no big bucks going on there, or big bucks are just going through there really randomly, and there's does going through there, then Nato wants some meat. I haven't had venison now for weeks and weeks. But I would imagine after seeing does with their fawns when I was there last, that there's does going past that spot. And if there is, Nato wants to put his first deer on the ground for 2021. This morning hasn't been quite as exciting as I hoped for. The wind that was forecast hasn't come. There's absolutely no wind, and when I drop my little wind detecting devices, they go this way for a while, go that way for a while, go this way, do circles, so the wind isn't good. On the bright side, the trail camera that I left on the tree pointed down at spot X has got heaps of deer, little bucks, a couple of young bucks, one maybe mature buck but didn't have a very good head, but that real big pig that I stuffed up when I was here like a month ago, I had a huge boar walk past me thinking it was a deer that was coming and I was trying to film it. Anyway, that boar has been going backwards and forwards past this corner multiple times, and he's even done it a couple of times in broad daylight, so there is a chance on a future hunt that big boar is going to cop an arrow. There had been no real big mature bucks going past this tree, so everything was on the hit list. A nice doe, that big pig would have been good. How the hell does that work? I'm sitting here talking to my phone, saying how the wind's swirling and I don't think there's going to be a chance of a deer, and the next thing I know, There's a deer standing right there in bow range, gets my wind and does a loop up around me here. Probably could have got a shot at it through there, but I would have had to move pretty quick and quietly. Anyway, I actually had some deer come through behind me this morning, but I could hardly see them. No way I could have made a shot at them. Even in a swirling wind, there's a chance. One day soon, Nato's gonna get one. One day very soon. All set up at spot number 2. The trail camera reckons that the other spot's way better. There's less animals going past here, but there is beautiful does going past here between 4 and 7:30 p.m. about 1 out of every 3 nights since I've been here, which is pretty good odds, right? Wind's good. That big pig that I got on the trail camera at the other spot, I reckon's walked past here too. Got him on the trail camera here as well, so yeah, just gonna kick back, keep quiet, because it is unbelievably quiet today. I thought a deer was coming, and then a little stoat went running past. That's how quiet it is. Although in saying that, I reckon stoats probably make more noise than deer do, right? I've had 3 bucks get to within 10 metres of my tree and I haven't heard them. Hopefully the next thing you see is a lighted knock headed a deer's way. Well, that's it. I just pulled the pin. Day number 2 chasing mature fallow bucks on public land for 2021 is done and dusted. Pretty good day all in all. I seen 6 deer, I think. There was either a mob of 4 or 5 went in behind me. And then there were 2 deer that would have walked right underneath my tree stand if it wasn't for that swirling wind. Lots of cool stuff on the trail cameras. Big pigs, 1 nice buck, lots of does. It's pretty cool how you can kind of start to pattern animals with what's going on. I know there's no point staying in the tree that I was just in, because all of the deer on the trail cameras that have been showing up, they've been showing up before 7 o'clock and then nothing right on dark. So yeah, and the meat spot, all the action's in the morning. So yeah, I'm out, home. Good morning time. Today is Sunday the 14th of March and it is day number 6 of Nato's quest to shank a mature fallow buck on public land. For day number 3, 4 and 5 I don't have much to report. It was pretty eventless as far as animal encounters go. There was a big spider on my pack when I put my pack down to put some warm clothes on when I was about 100 meters out from a tree one morning. I found a party balloon, I'm guessing some sort of helium balloon in the bush, which was really random. It's an awfully strange thing to find in the bush. Now I've got to carry the bloody thing home. Other than that, I can only say that I spooked animals. I didn't see any animals while I was tree hunting. I also did a day ground hunting and I spooked 1 animal that day. But yeah, she's been all pretty quiet. But right now I am on the march upon public land once more at my camping spot, and I'm headed out into the bush. I have a huge pack full of gear on my back, including a one-man tent and a sleeping bag. For the first time ever, Nato is going to camp in the bush for just a single night. So I am going to go to the area where I'm going to camp right now, drop my tent and drop a bit of gear out of my pack, and then I'm off to the spot where I filmed the Fallow Buck in January this year, and I'm going to swing out of a tree there until, well, I'm going to swing out of a tree there for as long as I can, to be honest. When I get sick of it, or when I'm tired, or if I think there's no chance of a deer, then I'm going to jump down out of that tree, go back to where I dropped all my tent and stuff, set my tent up, get all organised there, and then I'm still debating in my head whether I go for a ground mission or tree hunt a different tree. Nato's quest to shank a mature buck on public land continues. Well, that's what camp looks like. Let's go hunting. On yesterday's little ground hunting mission, I found a good spot, and I thought I'll just sit down here for half an hour and wait and see what happens. And I woke up right on dark, like 2.5 hours later, beelined it back to camp. I was knackered when I got back to camp, so I just thought I'll jump into my sleeping bag, have a sleep, and when I wake up, I'll have something to eat. I woke up at 2:30 this morning to a little bit of rain, so just rolled over and went back to sleep. And now I'm all packed, ready to go swing out of this tree. I didn't even film anything, so the story's a little bit, but that's okay. I've just fast forwarded you to the good bits. It's just gone 8:30 and it has all been quiet thus far, but I'm about to let out some antler clashing in the hopes of drawing something in. About 150 metres that way, there's a big hole in the fence that leads out of some private paddocks back into the bush. It's kind of similar to the meat spot. The deer come off a big ridge down into some sort of drainage, a little dried creek or something. And then that comes up here, and then this high point here has a heap of game trails leading to it from other ridges, and then those game trails drop down into that low point and then up to that hole in the fence. So I was hoping that deer were going to come from the paddocks past me here, but I haven't seen or heard a thing. But when I went over in that area was just full of sign over this way. The wind's perfectly coming from that way this way, so I'm hoping there's deer straight in front of me somewhere, and when I rattle these antlers, they're going to come flooding this way. Well, that's the dream, right? That's it. I pulled the pin early. I think I'm a bit over tree stand hunting. It's so hard. It's just unbelievably hard. Everything has to be perfect, and you've got to be in the right place at the right time. But at the end of the day, that's why I like it. I think the next time I come here, I'll spend the day just going from spot to spot to spot to spot, from scrape to scrape to scrape to scrape, and I'll leave the tree stand hunting alone, tree saddle hunting alone, until the roar is in full swing and I've got bucks tagging up the place, you know, every couple of days. At the moment, it's still pre-roar. It's not really cranking. 15th of March. Today's the 15th of March. So I'll leave it for the next sort of week or two, do a heap of ground hunting, see if I can't get a doe for the freezer or a big buck. And then once the roar is in full swing, I'll get back to swinging out of the trees, looking over those scrapes. Anyway, been real good fun. It's a real good learning curve. I watched a video that I made on YouTube in January last year, and I got one tree ready for the 2020 roar, and I was tree hunting on the private land, and I watched that video and just went, holy crap, I've learned a lot since then. So hopefully in another year or two I would have learned a heap more, and deer will be falling over left, right and centre. But until then, I will just happily keep plodding away and trying to learn as much as I can. See you next time. A ferret with a bow and arrow. That's pretty good, eh?